Hello and welcome, Exiles, to the Day 2 update to the Spirit Walker Beast Master. And the big monkey just keeps getting better. There's some cool tech I want to show you today and walk you through A, how to get mods on your monkey, B, a really powerful new skill, Refutation, which basically allows you to have permanent uptime on parry without actually holding down parry, gives you massive quality of life and defense. And then a little bit of a rundown of what we did up to this point. Now, in game, if I open my character gem screen and I hover my monkey right now, you'll notice a very interesting thing, which is on the left here, it says there are mods. Periodically Unleash Light, Energy Shield Aura, and Extra Lightning Damage, which are all very interesting things because they make this dude a lot stronger. Those mods aren't the best. Ideal mods would be things like Enraged. Extra Crit specifically is the best in slot mod for this. But how do we get those modifiers? Well, there is a very specific source for them, and that is the tablets which say unique monsters have one additional rare modifier. With 3 of those socketed in, and you run a map with either Rupture or Riverside, those are the 2 maps which have the monkey as the boss, you will end up finding the monkey with 3 additional mods. Now, very specifically, I want to note, it doesn't matter what tier of map it is. Whether or not it's a tier 1 or a tier 15, you get the same monkey with the same base stats, and then those stats are scaled based on what gem level you get onto your tame beast. Now, that means the best way to do this, so to try to not lose to the monkey, for example, is to run like a T1 map version of him. Because, like, for example, if you run a T15 and then you give him 3 rare mods and you have a 6 mod map and you only have 1 portal and then you die, you'll waste a use of the tablet. So you want to be a little bit more careful, and I'd recommend doing like lowest tier map possible so that way you're a bit safe about it. One thing I also want to note is you're going to need a second monkey. What do I mean by that? So what I did is I had a 5-link level 18, just a cheaper monkey right here on standby. And what I would do is I would take this thing out, and then I would go over to the vendor, because you want to roll multiple times to get good mods. Let's say the first map you put in isn't a good mod, and then you want to go to the disenchant. You'll notice if I put this in here, this Companion Zakoa Head Crusher, which has the +1 level 26 link that I made, I want to maintain like possession of this better 6 link. Like if you have a 6 link and you don't want to have to rebuy a new 6 link every time you go to capture a different version of it, you can use disenchant, and it'll take your level 26 link +1, you know, your more ideal gem that you invested into, and it'll give you a blank version of the tame beast. That is how you can get that back in order to keep trying to get better and better reservations. And what I would do is I would get the regular tame beast back. I would go take 4 of my links and I'd pop it on the level 18 version, and then I would go in there and I would use that version of tame beast to capture the one with mods on it. Ideally, again, we're looking for extra crits. The reason being is extra crits gives 300% crit chance, and that means capping crit's very easy. Now, I thought originally the monkey was going to have 5 base crit, and we were going to have to go for some crit weakness. We were still going to be able to get crit cap, but we were going to have to go for crit weakness. We're going to have to go for a little bit more crit investment. But apparently, GGG just gave the monkey 25 base crit, according to some information from Scissorin that he got from one of the devs, that the monkey has 25 base crit and an extra 100 crit multi or something like that. Which means if you get extra crit chance mod, which gives 300% crit chance, 25 base crit becomes 100 base crit, and you are crit capped right out the gate. So I'm going to be doing some Pokemon fishing later on more to try to get extra crits, because it is just by far and away the best mod. But that's the situation of what's going on with the monkey, the extra mods. It's a huge damage multiplier when you're trying to improve and make this guy that much stronger. Next up, I want to talk about reservation space. Now, you'll notice I have 3 skeletons here. That was before I anointed Gigantic Following. Once you anoint Gigantic Following, you can really only afford 2 extra skeletons. And these things are providing, A, something you can use Pain Offering to sacrifice to get a big attack speed and damage multiplier or increase. And B, they are providing extra reviving minions to the total count, which helps Muster be better. Muster gets 7% more damage per reviving minion, and 2 skeletons plus this companion, and the bear companion makes it so you have a total of 5, giving 35% more damage. Another really nice thing is eventually, as you're upgrading your character, get Romero's Requital. It's the upgraded version of Loyalty, which means a lot of the damage that goes and gets diverted to your bear then gives you recoup. It helps your sustain, feels really good. Can recommend. So yeah, that's some of the stuff that we got going on here. I always have a lower level Tame Beast in my inventory just in case we randomly run into a good haste or a rare. I just want to have that on standby. And then now for one of the biggest upgrades to the character that I would like to showcase, Refutation. This thing is insanely strong, and I recommend swapping to it as soon as you can. What does Refutation do? Well, one, I proc it, and it's a skill that has a duration. It's a skill that has a duration and it has a cooldown. The cooldown starts the second you start the duration. What does that end up meaning? That means you can basically get 100% uptime. This thing has a 6 something cooldown where it lasts about that long, which means I pretty much have full uptime. By the time this thing ends, which is right now, I can press it again and get uptime. And the thing about this is, what this does is gives you 100% block chance. So every attack that comes in and hits you blocks, and that means you're much stronger defensively. But B, it also applies parry. So when we have our offhand weapon set with all this parry magnitude stuff, we proc this. The parry applied by this, with it being in our weapon set too, means they're going to have that big damage multiplier. But I don't have to stand still while I'm using this. I can run around and it's active. So whatever bad quality of life parry had, which it wasn't that bad to just hold parry a little bit at the start of fight, now I can just proc this and kind of just move around, stand around. An enemy hits me, it's going to proc parry, and it's going to proc that damage multiplier. All you need to remember is when you proc this throughout the map, use your freezing mark or your pain offering to swap back to your weapon set 1. Make sure these are set to weapon set 2, so you can always force your main weapon set, which has trench timber and your extra gem level items, and that should work pretty well. Now, another thing people have been asking me, one more thing about Refutation. Refutation has this line which basically says you get stun built up, and once you get heavy stunned, Refutation is removed. For the most part, you don't get heavy stun very much because it gives you a bunch of stun threshold based on your runic ward. I have about 200 runic ward, so that gives me like a pretty solid stun threshold. What I would recommend is put runic ward on your boots, gloves, and helmet, but not on your body armor. I think you lose too much of your evasion rating if you do that. So I would save and not do it on your body armor, just so that way you still have better deflection rating and evasion rating. You don't want to lose too much of that, but you do need some ward. And another thing about that is you'll notice on my Mobalytics page, the gear is not correct because I am having issues when I go to import any gear that has runic ward on it, and I've had some issues with copy and pasting in, basically because runic ward is a new mechanic. It isn't supported yet on Mobalytics, so we're going to work through that and keep trying to update the guide as we go. But that's why I just made some placeholder pieces. The TLDR is you want evasion, you want life, and you want resistances. That's what you want with all your defensive pieces. And then your offensive pieces, your helmet, your amulet, your scepter, trench timber. You're prioritizing minion skill level. It's super powerful. Every level on this companion gem gives more damage multiplier on it. You'll see minions deal 112% more damage. Every single level makes the minions base stats higher, and I think they end up getting effectiveness as well. Like, it's really, really effective to scale levels, so everywhere you can get it, you want as many as possible. All right, that goes over that. Another elephant in the room you may notice is we have a Mageblood on this character. We did a lot of farming between today and yesterday. We played a grand total of around 21 hours. And we put basically all of our currency into farming this. Does Mageblood, is it mandatory for the build? No. I was killing all those bosses without Mageblood. What is Mageblood actually giving me right now? It's making my character walk faster. And that, my friend, is the end goal of this game, is making your character walk faster. It does a little bit more, though. It gives us evasion as well. We got to roll with Stibnite, Jade, Topaz, and Quicksilver. And you'll notice real quick here, if you look at my defensive screen, we go from 25,000 to 10,000. It's making a very big, impactful difference to our overall evasion situation. Eventually, maybe I'll divine it more for some other roles, but this is a big defensive upgrade and a big movement speed upgrade. Ultimately, if I had the 80 divines I put on this Mageblood and I put those into more specific damage upgrades on the character, I would end up with a stronger character than with the Mageblood. However, this upgrade I look as a long-term quality life investment that I'm going to reuse on every character I make for the rest of the league. I was really excited when it got announced. because it's just a cool chase item and it was one of my league goals. And so that was my priority for my initial investments. Not saying you should do the same thing, but that's just the decision I made was I saved all of my initial currency because the character is really strong on very little gear. So I was just able to tuck away all my initial funds, all my initial drops, and save up for this purchase here. All right, so that should cover pretty much all of the basics of the things we've done. I am going to be doing I'm going to be going to my nephew's birthday party today, so I won't be streaming, but I'll continue making update videos the next day, being Monday, and the day after, as we progress through the league and go over all the different things I figure out for the Beastmaster, and we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching, Exiles. As always, take care and peace out. Have a good one.